Most elite female jumpers use a single arm technique, but not Olympic gold medalist Thea. She chose to do double arm and it paid off. In this clip, her coach Gadson explains why that decision worked, what double arm actions actually do in the jump, and where most people get it wrong when they try to switch. Let's jump right in. I know that one very interesting thing that you have done with her is that you use a double arm action in the triple jump, whereas most female athletes use a single arm action or some derivation of that. So what was your thought process behind that? And what do you think of the role of the arm action in general?
Well, I mean, when I was a jumper, I was double arm. And I think obviously I'm a male, and most of the males I trained with a double arm. I guess I would say the females were probably single arm too. I don't totally remember. But I always thought double arm was like, it just felt more comfortable. It just seemed better. And, when Thea came to me, she was single arm, but she asked me the day, like when we were, I didn't want to call it an interview, but it was like informal kind of interview about like, should we work together? Should we not work together? She wanted to double arm. And she said that, her previous coach kind of laughed at her about double arming. And, my experience up until that point was like, I had high school girls that were jumping 36 feet double arming. And so I didn't see why there's any reason why any girl couldn't do double arm, assuming that they technically, like, they could, like, from a coordination standpoint, do it. There's no research that I've seen anywhere that actually has any scientific, physiological, anthropometric reason why women shouldn't be able to double arm. And so I'm like, hey, let's do it. Like, it makes sense to me. And so I think, beyond just that anecdotal evidence of just kind of what I saw with like high school girls that didn't jump particularly far, still double arming and doing well, I think that what I see with single arm, particularly with women, is that to me, it throws them off balance. And I would say the vast majority of women, even at the elite level, don't have a very good, middle phase. And I think that's largely because of what they're doing with their arm, their single arm, and it's really throwing them off balance and getting them twisted. And I don't know why, if, pretty much all the best men double arm, why wouldn't we want women to double arm? And if the vast majority of let's say college boys are double arming, then why can't elite women double arm? They're just as fast and just as strong. You have women jumping 15 meters. Why are all the high school boys that are jumping 47 feet double arming? Like the argument, I think if to be consistent in the argument, you'd say like, okay, well, if women aren't strong enough to double arm, okay, so then why are all these high school boys double arming? Like, that doesn't logically make any sense.
That's a very fair point. It makes sense. You said that sometimes it can throw, like the single arm action can throw elite female jumpers off balance. So do you feel like there's a time and a place for the single arm, like where some people might be able to utilize it more effectively than others? And like, how would you be able to parse out what an individual jumper should use?
Yeah, I'm not anti single arm. I think single arm can be good. Let me say this. I think when running to the board, I think single arm is probably better. It's better from the standpoint of it helps you maintain speed through the board. And I think what a lot of people do, particularly, I'm going to say particularly high school kids, but maybe not particularly high school kids. I think a lot of people, when they double arm, they come to the board and they do this like gather motion. And so that they come like this, then they bring their arms back, and then they go like this and take off. And even Christian Taylor does that. He jumps super duper far, right? I don't think you should do that for a couple reasons. Well, one, you lose speed. Even Christian Taylor loses speed when he does that. But he does it in a way that's pretty responsible, I think. And he's also super duper fast. He might even be too fast for his triple jump, right? And so I don't think a lot of people have that problem, okay? But what you see, what happens a lot is that the reason why they're doing that gather is because people are trying to, like I say, like kill the takeoff. And so what I mean by that is like they'll do this gather and then they'll really like drop into that last step. They'll get really low, bring those arms really far back. Their chest is going to drop, and then they're going to try to like really like jump off of the board. And that's might make you have like a big hop or a high hop, but you're going to get killed in the next phase. You're going to pay for it. And so, I mean, that's a big tangent, but like, I think that that's definitely one way that, double arm can kind of get you messed up if you're doing that. But, you're asking me kind of why, when would single arm be good? I think single arm is fine. I think there's a couple of good examples, like Rugi Diallo from France. I think she's like a really good single arm example. She jumped 14 World Juniors in, what was that, 2014, I believe. Yeah, I think in 2014. She jumped 1440. Now, I mean, as a professional, she jumped 1450 something, maybe 56. But I think she's like a beautiful single arm jumper, and I think she's really good at just being able to maintain that posture. But I think what happens most of the time when people do single arm, I think the Cubans are pretty good with their single arm too, is that like that what they'll do is this arm will go really far forward. They'll throw their arm really far forward and then they'll throw their chest forward too.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're doing that and or you're coming around crossing like this, it can create a lot of problem. Either you're gonna get twisted or you're gonna get, really far over rotated. So if you're gonna do the single arm, you gotta keep it tight and be a little bit more vertical with it as opposed to just throwing the arm out. And I just don't see there's a lot of good examples of women doing that really well. And so I think single is fine. I think single is going to be a little bit more for people that are elastic. So elastic meaning people getting off the ground really quickly. So like I think Patricia Mamona, who I've spent actually a lot of time with in Portugal, I think she's a really good example of a great single arm jumper. But she just is like, when you talk about skipping a rock on water, I think she's like one of the best examples of that. So I think it can be done really well. I think it's really good for elastic people. It's really good for fast people. So yeah, I'm not against it, but I think that there's a way to do it wrong, and I would say most people, in my opinion, are doing it wrong. And there's even some people that jump pretty far that I think are doing it wrong.
So, like some common pitfalls of people who are into single arm jumping is like they kind of like lurch forward on that takeoff, and so whenever they're coming down that hop, their chest is like facing down. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's because that arm gets too far in front of them. Like there's some people that I think are literally teaching people to like really just like they like punch and their arm just goes straight out. And you do that, your chest is going to follow and you're going to get over rotated.
So you would prefer to see more of like a vertical arm, like
Yeah, the initial action is vertical and then the arm kind of just is going to relax out. You don't want to like punch it forward.